Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin. Today we're talking about second impressions of the Microsoft Lumia 650. You know, somewhere between first impressions and a final review is second impressions. I did an unboxing the other day when I first got the phone, and obviously I hadn't spent any time with the phone yet, so it's just kind of first impressions. Obviously, I haven't had it long enough to do a review, but I have spent a little bit of time about it to know a little more of what to talk about and what its pros and cons are. So that's when I started doing second impression videos, and this is the second impressions of the Lumia 650. Okay, so first of all, this is a phenomenal phone. If I had to compare it to a Windows phone on the market, I would not say that this is a successor to the Lumia 640. While the Lumia 640 is a fantastic phone, it introduced a lot of the features that this phone refines, such as an HD display and rich capture and a front camera on the 600 series. This is more of a successor to the Lumia 830. The Lumia 830, which I've got right here, I would say that is the most overpriced phone on the market. I was going to say Lumia on the market, but it's probably the most overpriced phone on the market. When it came out, it was $449 on AT&T, $499 unlocked, and the thing used the Snapdragon 400 chipset, which is Qualcomm's lower mid-tier chipset, which is really closer to low-end. You actually see low-end phones that use that chipset. Now, while the Lumia 830 was a fantastic phone, it was probably the most expensive phone that used a Snapdragon 400. It's definitely the most expensive that I know of. They made up for that with some flagship features, such as this premium design here, a pure view rear camera, although it only has a single LED flash. Although, by the way, it's a fantastic pure view camera. It's great in low light. One of the best pure views that I've seen from my testing. 5-inch HD display, although it's an LCD. And it had glance. And now remember the X30 series of Lumia. This was at a time when the 635 was the current 600 series Lumia. So 5-inch HD display was a huge selling point, where the 635 was 4.5 inch 480p. The 640 ended up having a 5-inch HD display as well. Now, the 650 here, this brings an AMOLED display, metal body, beautiful design. Okay, it really feels premium. It almost feels like a flagship. It's really snappy. I have had such a fantastic experience with this phone since I got it. That it really feels, when I say almost like a flagship, it reminds me of the way they introduced the 830 and they called it an affordable flagship. And everything about it is a flagship except the chipset. And the 830 had a 0.9 megapixel front camera, so that wasn't flagship either. So the 650 has a 5 megapixel front camera, which is fantastic. The camera on the rear is 8 megapixels, quarter-inch sensor, f2.2 aperture. As far as I can tell, it's the exact same sensor that's on the Lumia 640. So that's the one thing that it doesn't have that the 830 had, is a pure view camera. So there's no optical image stabilization and stuff like that. But I really don't want to say that this is a low end phone. It doesn't feel like a budget phone, and also it's not overpriced like the Lumia 830 was. It's $199. Now, Microsoft has said that this phone is only coming to select European markets. It's not coming to the United States. Although they didn't specifically say it's not coming to the United States. They said European markets, although they announced it in US dollars, which Microsoft loves to do. There is a user guide online for a Cricket wireless model. There's no official word that it's coming to Cricket, but it certainly looks like it might at some point. And it's something that at this point, I don't see any downsides to this phone. Snapdragon 212 from benchmark shows that it really seems to be faster than it seems to be much better in terms of performance than Snapdragon 400 or the Lumia 640. 640, every phone that I've ever tested with a Snapdragon 400 or something gets, or even 200, gets 11,000 and change here. And yes, I know it's an abandoned beta from 2012, but if you're testing them against the same app, it does test the same thing. I also tested it on the new Antutu app, which, unlike the old abandoned beta app, this one actually can be compared to some to Android and iOS versions of Antutu. Now, this is the 640 that I've got on the right. We see that we have better performance, and just about everything is better in terms of performance on the 650. Now, going back to the camera, I've found the camera to be very pleasant. It's a nice camera. It's not the best camera because, like I said, it's not pure view. Now, pure view is defined as either oversampling or optical image stabilization. Okay, so it has neither of those things, but it's a nice camera for what it is. And the front camera is awesome. Okay, so there's no continuum support, as we know. Microsoft came out and announced this phone, and they said it was a business phone. Now, for a business phone, it doesn't have continuum or Windows Hello. I'm okay with that because I'm not using it for enterprise features. Even on my 950, I really don't use continuum a whole lot. So I'm happy with it. And a lot of people were unhappy with this phone when they announced it. Well, first of all, they announced it through a press release, and a lot of people were not. It said that it shows Microsoft's lack of faith in the phone that they didn't announce it at Mobile World Congress. I get it. But it really is fantastic. And also the fact that they use Snapdragon 212, because we're used to Snapdragon 400 series in the Lumia 600 series. But it's what I've learned. All right, I was skeptical about the phone too. What I've learned since I've got it is that this is a premium phone. This is an affordable flagship like the 830 was. Okay, it's not just a low-end phone with the Snapdragon 212. Because the Snapdragon 212, actually, from everything I've seen so far, is more powerful than Snapdragon 400. Right? So it is an upgrade. So people are going to ask me, and I just finished recording a comparison video between the 640 and the 650. People are asking, should I upgrade from the 640? And, that's up to you. Obviously, if you're using a 640 as a daily driver, you got it for a reason. You wanted a budget phone. So maybe the 640 has been out for less than a year. So maybe you don't want to upgrade just yet. And that's perfectly understandable. Should you upgrade from a 635? Absolutely. This phone is phenomenal. So I'm going to show you some pictures that I've taken with this phone, and you can judge some of that for yourself. So you can see that I've got a sunset here. And this was a picture. I ran outside to take this picture because a sunset like that really shows what a camera is made of. A lot of lower end cameras, you'll just kind of see a bright light in the back. You might not even see the trees. And I was super impressed with the way it came out from the Lumia 650 here. It takes beautiful photos. Now, keep in mind that most of the photos you're seeing are in daylight. Most cameras, and people say this to me all the time when I do camera comparisons, most cameras do just fine in daylight. Color accuracy is important, which Lumias are excellent at, as we know. But other than that, it's not hard to take a great picture in good lighting. So we can look at what it does at night, because I did take I try to take pictures for every lighting condition. And the low light performance seems pretty good. Doesn't seem amazing. You can see that I have a picture of it's the cat house. Cat has his own house. You can't really see it without the flash, though it is really dark back there. The flash doesn't do that much because it is a single LED flash. right? But you do have rich capture, which can help you with some situations with the flash. Now we do have a 5 megapixel front camera as well, which is phenomenal, right? It takes beautiful pictures. I really enjoy 5 megapixel Windows Phone cameras or front cameras because Android cameras always seem to want to smooth your skin and touch you up, and I don't like it when my pictures look like that. All right, so I really enjoy this camera. Now, low light seems pretty good. Um, I always take one picture where I'm facing a light, and then one picture where I'm facing away from the light, and it seems like it comes out pretty good from this phone. Anyway, guys, I'll have more on this phone. I'm gonna write up comparisons. I'm definitely gonna have comparisons from with the Lumia 640 and with the Lumia 550. Um, I don't. I may do a comparison with the 830 as well, just because I really feel like this is more of a successor to the 830 than it was to the 640 because it's really just so premium. One thing I haven't been able to do on this phone just yet is install 105.86.122. Uh, I've had that problem before where it just doesn't want to install certain updates. Usually it's solved by resetting the phone. I reset it, although not through the recovery tool. It still doesn't work. So maybe I'll try it through the recovery tool next and I'll get this build installed. But it is the latest cumulative update and it does fix a lot. I've had great experience with that build, so I can't wait to get it on this phone. Anyway, guys, that's it. I highly recommend subscribing to NeoWin. It is the best YouTube channel in the universe. I don't see why you wouldn't want to subscribe to the best YouTube channel in the universe. The universe is a big place, so to be the best in the universe is a pretty exciting thing. I highly recommend it. So you're going to see a little white box that's going to say subscribe to NeoWin. I suggest you do it. Anyway, guys, I'm Rich Woods from NeoWin. Have a great night.